sound rolling? Oh wait, it's on one battery. Is that fine?
It's fine. We have
three backups.
Yeah. Okay. Morning News documentary with Soni Kum, the second one.
Okay, so do you want to reintroduce yourself also, or?
Yeah, maybe I should do that.
So if you could start with an introduction, please.
Okay. My name is Soni Kum. I'm a visual artist, and my work is mostly takes a medium of video, text, performance art, drawing, and various project-based artworks. And I was born in Japan as third generation Korean, and I studied in the United States for 4 years. And since after, I've been traveling around the world to exhibit my works and share my idea and thoughts with a lot of audiences around the world.
Is the audio okay?
It is okay.
Okay, perfect. How do you think Morning Dew inspires? Tell me about Morning Dew and what messages you hope to convey.
Morning Dew is a project I initiated in 2019 to 2020 in collaboration with Japanese artists Hiroki Yamamoto and Kazuya Takagawa and Nobuaki Takekawa and curator Yumiko Okada. And we together created this project, and also in collaboration with ex-returnees who were Zainichi Koreans before. Koreans migrated to Japan during Japanese colonialism, and then stayed in Japan for a while, and then so-called returned to North Korea as a part of repatriation project, began in late 1950s to early 1980s, and then they faced a lot of harsh conditions in North Korea, and they defected from North Korea to China, and they came back to Japan eventually, and they are living in Japan in secrecy. So we wanted to collaborate with them. So Morning Dew is this collaborative project between artists and North Korean ex-returnees residing in Japan.
Okay. How do you think Morning Dew inspires change or raises awareness about social issues in Japan?
First of all, a lot of people don't know that there are people who are Chinese Koreans before and then migrated to North and came back to Japan. So I wanted to raise awareness that they exist in Japan and they are not able to reveal their identity because of the anti-North Korean sentiment. Very intense and sensationalized through Japanese media in Japan. And I wanted to convey their voice because the silence regarding Japanese colonial history and post-war period, how Japan encouraged the war effort in Korean War, and how they try to conceal the colonial past and repress the memory of war violence during post-war. So I wanted to make sort of like a disjointed historical continuity into one sort of chronological time frame as a video artwork, and wanted to make missing piece incorporated into one contextualized historical narrative, which is personal at the same time signifying the repressed memory and creating the hole in the memory of post-colonial condition in East Asia.
The third question is about your decision to use these calm landscapes in Morning Dew, and why you chose to contrast it with these very vivid images of war.
Yes, I personally like beautiful landscapes in rural area and anywhere in the world, but most of us are living in the city where we cannot really face or fear the surroundings of nature, and the smell of tree even is difficult to smell in the city. And when I fear really painful experience or memory, I would like to bring myself into the nature so that I can feel the vastness of the nature and feel the presence of myself. It's small, only particle of this planet, and transient at the same time, and temporal and ephemeral, and I could die in one moment, and my effort or my problem or something that I feel painful or traumatized are small compared to this vast globe that we are surrounded by. So I think I wanted to create contrast between the majesty of nature and then the small individual struggling against this force that nature is kind of trying to sweep away from us.
Tell me about the differences in the way that you think Zainichi have responded to Morning Dew versus people who don't know about their histories at all, and also the differences between people's response in Japan versus here in the United States.
The reaction or reception of Morning Dew by community in Japan was very good. It was very, I had good reception from the audiences in Japan, but we were only able to exhibit our exhibition for 5 days in Japan because non-major art institution can host this kind of exhibition in Japan because of the self-censorship and censorship regarding Japanese colonial past and history regarding, for example, comfort women issue or the soldiers who were enlisted for the Pacific War by Japanese Imperial Army. So anything who touches this colonial past can be censored or repressed at the same time. So although we had exhibition which is organized by a group of people who supported me, it ended within 5 days. So I was really fortunate to have extensive exhibition in Johnson Museum of the Art at this time. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And it's great to have this kind of conversation in safe environment where I myself are not afraid to offend any audience because of this kind of tension that surrounded in East Asia. So I didn't have to afraid what to talk or if I offend someone because of what I'm saying. So it's the Cornell University is located in beautiful nature and it's kind of a remote place, but I feel like it's in a way creating utopic space for scholars or artists who are in risk of their existence in their own country. So they are, and then here the tension is much less. So, but at the same time, many American audience doesn't know basic knowledge or historical basis of what happened in East Asia. So there is a difficulty for us, and then there is a necessity for us to explain what happened, basic historical context in East Asia. So that is a difficulty that I'm dealing with, and the specificity that I am dealing with could be not so relevant in this context. So I'm kind of struggling with how much abstraction I could make and how much extent I could mention specificity or specific historical element. But I believe that I incorporated live action scene that is quite metaphorical and based on my own experience and my own observation, and sort of like fantastic images of the phantasmagoric image of sort of like spectral ghost-like images are incorporated. So I try to cross the border between the reality and then the actual experience that we are living, and the imagination, and this kind of like a virtual reality that we are co-creating through the medium of video or internet or all these things. So I try to cross the boundary at the same time, incorporate all these mixed media and mixed world into one artwork, so that I could somehow transcend this physical limitation or a limitation of the information that we share in one geographical location to another. So I think it was a really interesting challenge for me to present my work in a place like Cornell University, Johnson Art Museum. I hope she will come soon because yeah, I told her to come around 50. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we have until 5 to.
Here?
We have to be out at 5, but we.
Oh, so she really need to come. Okay, it's 4, so okay.
Yeah, we have
okay.
an hour.
Okay.
Okay, I'm rolling.
And then, sorry, could you please walk us through some of the details in your video and the meaning behind them? And are there any specific parts that you filmed that stand out to you personally?
First of all, I took long hours of the interview scene with actual ex-returnees defected from North Korea to Japan. So that was the basis of my artwork. And after we're filming and also listening to their testimonies for, I don't know how long that would be in total length, I learned a lot of the things that which I was not able to imagine that it could exist, and the human cruelty and the extent of suffering that they went through in secrecy was beyond my imagination. And so I wasn't sure first what kind of artwork I could make. Then I came up with this idea of using multiple screen so that I can somehow make the structure of artwork more complex, and I can incorporate the element of time and space more effectively. So the usage of 3-screen multiple channel work first came to me, and after that, using the actual historical archival material came up to me, and there are a lot of social circumstances in Japan to deny the existence of colonial past or colonial violence or any victim even exist, or their testimonies are always under the scrutiny of if they are lying or telling truth. So I thought before using the language or word, I thought image should come first, because image could bring something that word or language cannot convey. So I was kind of like, in a way, I was kind of like a detective who are finding this like a certificate or proof to show that, okay, this actually existed and we cannot deny. And in legal level, I wanted to excavate these hidden memories or images recently kind of released. And these archival footages existed for a long time, but only recently it was digitized and made available online. So although the footage itself is really old, because of this digital revolution and digital era that we are living, those old archival footages made available to artists or any citizen like me. So I'm using old footages, but actually it's quite new phenomena that are being available recently. So I decided to use these archival images. So many archival footages are the part of the history which is repressed in Japan. The actual violence committed by Japan, or the appearance of Korean soldiers conscripted by Japanese Imperial Army in Iwo Jima, or something like that. And at the same time, some of the images are so familiar to us that we are seeing these images over and over, and it is so charged that in a way we become numb to these images. So creating this kind of like a seemingly chronological timeline of historical narrative, which was woven together in the hand of artists as me, create interesting set of utopic world in a way through the juxtaposition and use of simultaneity and anachronism in one space and time frame. So yes, I hope that makes sense.
Can you talk about your use of 3 screens and how it affects the viewer?
Okay. I think I just
could you tell us about art, the mediums you choose to work with, and why it's something you choose to dedicate your life to?
Yes. Art is a medium that which is autonomous, and in a way I feel that only art can be independent from any scrutiny of greed or consumable tendency, that which is very strong and driving our forces. So I was very struck by the beauty and the spirit of artists who are doing these works independently and struggling against something which seems like gigantic and hard to resist. I feel like these artworks can deserve the things that no other medium could deserve. So I was really attracted to the medium of the art first when I was in undergrad students, and I decided to pursue my career as an artist from my MFA course at Cal Arts. And there is a debate that if artwork can actually transform the society. I believe that we cannot make any direct transformation through artwork, but because of the artwork or because of the life of the artist, I feel like we can inspire a lot of people who might be struggling or suffering alone, and by having contact with these artworks, they can make small transformation one by one, and it's more like grassroots transformation that we can create. But I feel that these works are quite significant. So it's been quite a struggle to survive as an artist, but it's worth.
And then the last question was if you could elaborate more on what led you to making Morning Dew. And yeah, sort of the beginning phases of how you started your process.
Yes. The process. Yes. First, we tried to have workshop with ex-returnees living in Japan, but we found that they do not want to gather in one place as a form of workshop because they tend to criticize each other, that his line or his line, or so they tend to deny each other. So this tendency of criticizing one another is quite severe. So we decided not to have workshop and have one-on-one interview or one-on-one relationship, creating relationship. And slowly we decided to push our project forward. And we didn't create one work together, but individual artists wanted to make each work because I thought it would be difficult for us to collaborate together and then making one work. Rather than that, I thought it would be better for us to make individual work, which include our own isolation and, in a way, solitary struggle as an artist to face this relentless suffering that they encounter, and erased history and abundant group of people who passed away without being noticed by any public or without the expression of public mourning toward their death, which is quite a lot in numbers. So we decided to create our own artwork individually, and then took the form of group exhibition and had symposium afterwards to generate the meaningful art discussion afterwards. Rebecca came? Okay, good. So we just finished, so it's perfect timing. Perfect timing. Perfect, really perfect timing.